If you're having trouble with resume writing or you're not getting responses from the resumes you are sending out, then you're in the right place. In today's video, we're gonna be talking about the 6 most common resume mistakes that you need to avoid at all costs so that you can land that interview and get your job search moving. Hi, I'm Johnny. I'm a career coach and I wanna welcome you here to my channel where I talk personal growth, careers, and high performance. Basically everything that I like to learn, I'll be sharing here with you on this channel. If you like how that sounds, then make sure to hit the subscribe button and notification bell. And while you're at it, make sure to destroy that like button as well. I'd very much appreciate that. Let's get started. All right, mistake number 1, messing up the basics. This seems obvious, but when you're in crunch time trying to find a new job, you're likely spending a ton of time in front of the computer working on your resume. Resume writing is tedious, I get that. And sometimes even the best of us violate the most basic resume rules. As job seekers, we know to watch out for silly mistakes like spelling errors. Yet, hiring authorities throw out most resumes for this exact reason. So while these are resume fundamentals, it has to be said anyways. Here are some general rules for resumes. Keep your resume to 1 page. 2 pages are acceptable if you have a longer career. For example, if you have over 8 years of experience, but no more than 2 pages. Do a spelling or grammar check. I recommend using Grammarly and or having a fresh set of eyes to look over your resume. Have a professional email listed. I've seen things like dragon227@gmail and it doesn't look right. Make sure to have a more professional email, ideally a variation of your first and last name. Do not include photos or personal information. This isn't Tinder. Having a picture or disclosing information like your marital status, age, or political affiliation will risk discrimination. And lastly, I recommend that you do not include an objective. Most objectives are vague and offer no substance. Take the following as an example. To obtain a position that will enable me to use my strong organizational skills, ABC background, and ability to work well with people. First off, I just fell asleep. Second, if you're applying to a job, companies want to know that you're targeting them and not that you just randomly sent out your resume and they happen to take a bite. If you tailored your resume, then you wouldn't be saying obtaining a position. Third, most people will say that they have strong organizational skills and that they work well with others. That's too subjective and relative. Instead, show them that you're the real deal in your accomplishments. Here's what that might look like. Managed a 6-member team and completed a commercial real estate project in 1 year. By having this in your resume, decision makers will see that you have strong organizational skills and work well with others through your accomplishments. Now that we got past the basics, let's move on to mistake number 2, using distracting formats. A lot of resumes are tossed simply because it's more distracting than it is helpful. This is especially true for work in professional services. Although, even though it's true in the creative field, they are a little bit more lenient when it comes to resume formats. Take this as an example. This again is vague. No sane person would give them less than a 3 out of 5 stars, right? Show this in your accomplishments instead. Don't waste valuable real estate on your resume for fancy graphics. I understand the appeal to make your resume look amazing. Take this from a guy that spent hours researching what kind of font I should be using or what paper I should be printing my resume on. It's natural to want to focus on optimizing the tiniest bit of detail, but no matter what, the resume's content is truly what is going to land you the interview. The lesson here is less is more. My professional recommendation, even for creative roles, is to keep the pages white with minimal to no aesthetics and link your LinkedIn profile, website, and or portfolio in the header. Mistake number 3, taking a one-size-fits-all approach. Tailor your resume. Do not send the same resume to every job posting or decision maker. Learn how to customize your resume and package your work experience in a way that it stresses its relevance to the specific job in question. Here are some of the things that you can do. Know what areas of your work experience you should highlight and what parts you can omit from your resume entirely. You don't have to include everything. Prioritize your bullet points to lead with your strengths, so long as it's still relevant to the job posting. Look for keywords in the job description and embed them into your own resume. Additionally, make sure to include content that the hiring authority will understand. Decision makers comb through tons of resumes just to find a couple of candidates. Including specific terminology or complex phrases that take a little while to digest or comprehend might hurt your chances. Every time you write a resume, you can ask yourself, would a senior in high school be able to understand this? You want to make the reading experience as seamless as possible. Keep it simple and keep it relevant. Mistake number 4, lying. Lying happens more frequently than you might think. Hiring authorities have seen it all, whether it's taking credit for group successes, stating they received a certification or a degree when they didn't, or saying that they worked with a company much longer than they did. All it takes is an interview with some high-pressure questions or a reference or background check to figure out whether a job seeker hasn't been truthful. Does this mean that people who lie on their resumes don't get jobs ever? Of course not. But I have seen job offers rescinded and people getting fired after being brought on. And when they're caught, they lose all credibility and trust. Just don't lie, don't do it. Not in your resume, in your interviews, in your life. It's not a habit that you want to form. Mistake number 5, listing facts. Most resumes are boring because they're just a list of facts. It's regurgitating a job description. Every hiring authority is already expecting that you did your job. That's why job descriptions and listing them won't do the trick. What they want to know is how well you did your job. So make sure to share your accomplishments and your successes. So here's an example of a job responsibility. And remember, this is what is expected. Coordinated fundraising events for prospective donors. Now compare that to this. Coordinated 35+ fundraising events for up to 5,000 donors and successfully raised $500,000, exceeding our initial goal of 80%. Oh, why did I do that? Now, I just made this up, but let's say that maybe you don't have any crazy, outstanding accomplishments yet. You can still stand out by sharing something concrete, because most job applicants don't do that. Mistake number 6, relying solely on your resume to get the job. Nothing about your resume actually matters unless it helps you land that interview. Most job seekers will create a resume and start rifling them off to every job posting that interests them. Then they anxiously wait for a call, expect to kill it in the interview, and boom, they get the job offer. This is what I did when I first started. In my opinion, this is probably the most costly mistake. Most job seekers are just simply not aware of the numbers. Typically, hiring authorities will receive 50 to 100+ resumes per job posting. That's one job vacancy for at least 50 applicants. In other words, 2% odds. If you're applying to more prominent companies like Microsoft, Facebook, Apple, Netflix, and so on, it's even more difficult. Here are the numbers for Google. More selective than getting accepted at Harvard, Yale, and Stanford. Now, I don't mention this to discourage you. I say it because even with a perfect resume, you won't get far unless you have a diverse set of strategies. If one approach doesn't work, then you can switch gears and try another. Top performers do this by employing strategies such as conducting cold email campaigns and consistently making warm calls to their personal network, as well as developing relationships with company insiders. Personally, I'd take a good resume and a great strategy over a perfect resume and a flawed strategy any day. If you want a more in-depth video, I recently created a video called Why Perfect Resumes Are Getting You Nowhere. And in that video, I discussed this mistake in particular and the different strategies you can use to combat it. You can find that video up here. Now, at some point in my academic and professional career, I've made all of these mistakes. Let me know down in the comments below which mistakes you've made and if you have any questions regarding them. I read every comment. And there you have it, all the resume mistakes that you need to avoid at all costs. For more information and resources, you can feel free to subscribe to my newsletter, which is down in the description, and you can also subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. Also, if you found this video helpful, make sure to like and share the video as well. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. This seems obvious, but when you're in crunch time trying to find a new job, you're likely spending a ton of time in front of the camera. Computer. Okay. Blah, blah. All right.